is Haji Thomas. I'm from the north side of Houston, Texas. Let me just tell you a little bit about myself. I didn't come from the best background, the best family, you know. I didn't live the luxury life, you know. I just lived a life where you had to get it how you get it, you know. Growing up, I didn't have my mother. My grandmother raised me since I was 5 days old, so she was basically my mother, you know, coming up. Didn't know my father, you know. And early on, I was, you know, a hothead, you know, coming up, making bad decisions, stayed in a lot of trouble. Because there wasn't no father figure, there was no discipline in my life, and I didn't have it, you know. So it got me into a lot of trouble that I couldn't get out. But as my life started to progress, I started to learn, I started being in different activities to help me, which was basketball. For me, you know, my coaches was great father figures for me, you know, on and off the court, because off the court, I feel like, you know, I can do whatever I did at any time. But then it also affected me on the court, so which my coaches told me, as long as you're right off the court, your life will be better on the court, so I had to learn and make that adjustment. And once I went through those things, I finally realized now I'm here in my third year in school, it's going much smoother because off the court I'm doing the right things, or at least try to do the right things at all times, you know. Be on time, be 10 minutes early, you know. Stay 15 minutes, 20 minutes afterwards practice, you know, trying to get some shots up, you know. But as overall, man, I came a long way, you know.
My name is Melvin Smith. I'm from Tennessee. Growing up in Tennessee was a different experience for a young African American. As a kid, you know, I experienced racism and you know, hatred from my own kind. You know, black kids. And, you know, out there it was like it seemed like I had to be a certain way. You know, act hard, be tough in order to make it. You have to have a strong mind also, because you know the living conditions wasn't as good. You know, there was a lot of poor families. You know, all of my friends and most everybody I knew didn't have fathers in the home, so it was just a messed up situation all around. I remember as a kid, you know, my first time experiencing racism, I was about 4 or 5 years old. You know, I was in my aunt's house, and she would tell me, you know, to stay out her backyard because those white people stayed back there or whatever behind the house. You know, as a kid, you want to venture off and explore and just do what you want. So that's what I did. You know, once I came up to the house, this white guy comes out with a 12 gauge and sticks it in my face. And it was a shotgun, and you know, and it scared me. But you know, for some reason, it didn't bother me as much because all I could think of was my auntie told me to stay out that yard. So you know, he told me, get out of my yard, nigger, and you know, and he didn't have to tell me twice. So I just sprinted and ran back to my auntie's house. And I never told her that happened. You know, I kept it to myself. But at a young age, I understood what racism meant. So I want to become a college coach because I feel it's my purpose, my goal in life. It's my goal in life to help others, to help other kids that come from situations like mine. You know, not only them, but anybody else that needs my help and who needs a father figure. But you know, but mainly my heart does go out to those kids, those African American males who, you know, grow up in these situations that they shouldn't be in. You know, that they were forced in because of maybe some government decision to build these projects and to store these folks in those situations. You know, and I think basketball is an outlet for us, you know, for the African American males who come from those situations.
The project has 842 apartments and was built as part of President Franklin Delano Roosevelt's New Deal initiative. The goal was to rid Memphis of its slums by providing the poor with temporary housing. It was unsuccessful.
Public housing became a permanent place for people who were in poverty to live. A place we could forget about people in many ways.
Those those forgotten people have gone through generation after generation of hopelessness.
It concentrated substantial numbers of people in a relatively small area that have very little hope for economic advancement, often have failing schools that are serving them, few services that are available to them. All of that starts giving rise to the kind of criminal activity we see.
My name is Coach Guster. I'm one of the assistant coaches here at the UTSA. Just wanted to talk a little bit about myself and my upbringing and why I decided to coach. I decided to coach when I realized that I wanted to stay in athletics for a long period and was not able to play professionally. It was very important to me to be a part of the game, and I had great mentors throughout my process of growing up. Number one mentor was my high school coach, who was very, very important in my upbringing. Kind of gave me an opportunity to see the success side of life and the opportunities that lie ahead for me. I was raised in Louisiana, which most of you may know is a high poverty state and a state where there's some chances for growth, so to speak. I had an opportunity to get my high school degree from West Monroe High School in Louisiana, and then from there I went on and played college basketball in Missouri. Since becoming a part of athletics and coaching, one of my biggest responsibilities is recruiting, and so I get an opportunity to see many different avenues of life from the side of high poverty, and also be involved with families with husband and wife and really good situations. Probably my biggest challenge is to deal with some of the kids that come from bad situations, and obviously try to be a mentor to those guys. That's something I take very, very personally, not only with African American kids, but also with any student athlete that I'm a part of their life. It's very important to me that they get an opportunity to understand how to act and how to behave socially and become a man, and at some point be a leader of their household. It's also very important to me that they have an opportunity to get a college degree. At the end of the day, for most guys, or actually for any guys, the ball's going to stop bouncing at some point.
I believe the rain will go away. I believe that I can make